Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and we're going to do another update of what's going on with the Israeli war. So, first things first, we're going to do two updates from yesterday's video. Yesterday, if you tuned in, I read off that Hamas was going to start with the threat of executing hostages in retaliation. I said it was a threat yesterday. I said, we'll see what happens. Let me move over. The sun is already going to start trying to ruin the video. So I'll put it over here that it is at least official that they have executed at least 2 hostages. So it is no longer a threat. They've actually put actions with words. That's a sad thing. When the first time comes, it's no longer a threat any longer. It means that when they say that they're going to do something, it seems like they're going to do it. Now, hopefully, it stays that way. I don't want to see anybody executed, but it sends a message now. Now it's sitting back to see, is any more going to happen? Because the more that they do it, the more emotions start playing a role in things. The clock starts ticking. Things really begin to escalate further when things like this happen. Plus, it takes future threats really into a much bigger account. So, moving on, the second update from yesterday's video is Iran threatened about if the U.S. gets involved, that is a red line. Now they are saying that red line has been crossed, and now we'll do the next one because that line has been crossed due to U.S. special ops teams are now boots on the ground in Israel. Now, I kind of took it as when they said involved that they actually meant armed military getting involved in the conflict, which may be what it is. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't, I'm just getting open source information, just like you can go get. Right now, at least the current, we want to call it, the current word, the official narrative of this is that they are just intelligence gathering advisors and trying to do hostage negotiations. With all these threats flinging around, I'm not quite sure it's a smart idea to put our boots, our warplanes, all that inside an active, actual official war zone. It seems like that's just asking for trouble. One of the rules in Prepping 101, do not be where the problem is. That kind of seems like our government really needs to maybe take that to heart. When there's a conflict, you can do different things to help out and assist with an arm's reach. To actually stand in the middle of it, it almost makes you feel like you want to be involved. You want somebody to bump against you so that way you can say, well, out of, self-defense or out of whatever, we now have to be involved. And I'm really praying and hoping to God that we do not get actually called in and start firing weapons and missiles and things like that. I don't know. Things are not looking good. We'll move on to this one. The U.S. Navy is currently in the Gulf of Suez, which is just right there to the Suez Canal, which, if you have followed in the news, if you remember, is it the Evergreen ship that turned sideways in the Suez Canal? But that's a major, major shipping lane. And if we are patrolling that, then that means that there is some sort of credible at least word or threat or something that something may take place in there, and so we're going to go stick our nose in there. And so that is a bit alarming. That's why I put it in this report, because, as I said, that it's a major shipping lane. If that gets disrupted, that has consequences all around the globe, and that will affect you and me here on the homeland. Speaking of which, this one, South Korea has now gathered intelligence that North Korea may be preparing for a possible surprise attack. So what they're saying in this one is that the way that Hamas did their surprise attack and how effective it is, and that's one thing that you can take home when things go on and it is not in your backyard. You have the privilege of standing back as a spectator and with a calm, level head and without emotion, you can look at everything from every different direction and figure out all the different who, what, where, why, all that stuff, and you can dissect this. And this is what, people are doing. So North Korea is looking at that same exact attack plan, and they're wondering, hey, that wasn't some top of the line, 307th generation warplane. Those were dirt bikes, motorcycles, hang gliders, that's stuff that everybody seems to have. It's low tech stuff, and it wasn't anything special that they don't already have. And so, they may utilize that as a game plan. Let's keep moving right along. I'm going to try and keep this one short because I gathered all this stuff between last night and this morning, and I tried to gather some different stuff right before I was going to make this video. And when I went to go check some sources, there was like 400 different headlines of different things. I was just like, dude, if I get into this, I will never make a video. So after I get done doing this one and posting this one, I will be jumping into those 400 plus. If anything is overly alarming, I may put out a second video. If not, then I will wait. It'll be in tomorrow's report. But let's round this out to where this one here, that Biden says U.S. is ready to intervene as soon as necessary. Now, we just got done talking about some of the stuff in the report here earlier, that we've got assets all over the place. We now have, with yesterday's report, confirmation that at least 2 B-52 bombers are on ground in Israel. I'm still trying to confirm, but it does look more and more likely that we do have some F-15s, F-16s, at least 20-ish fighter jets are there, which would more than likely mean that we have at least an air refueler as well. I can't find that yet. But now we also have in this current report that we have special forces and actual military assets now confirmed on ground. So with a thing like that, again, right now it's a threat, it's a statement without action behind it. It's just words. So it's a big statement to say, and to say that especially with the threat that Iran has given, Iran basically said if the U.S. intervenes, that's a red line, and they're going to join the conflict. Well, now you have the U.S. saying we're ready to intervene. So things are getting really dicey. The heat is definitely turning up. And so now you have the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now you have the Hamas and Israeli conflict. You have the different people that might be jumping into this conflict. Then you have, like I said in this report, South Korea and North Korea. I still haven't seen too much about China. China seems to be doing the same thing that they do, where they just keep kind of pestering at the moment. I haven't seen a whole lot out of them, and it's not too surprising. But I'm keeping an eye on them, making sure that there's no major escalation over in that area, and I haven't seen any just yet. As soon as I do, I'll let you know. But with all those different conflicts and potential conflicts, now I'll round this out with the last one of this video. A second war in Europe may break out between Serbia and Kosovo. And that is just what we need. And I'm kind of interested, maybe I should Google it, on how many countries have to be at war before it's considered a world war, because you already have 2 official wars going on right now. And then if you have North and South Korea at war, and then you have Serbia and Kosovo at war, and then you have China and Taiwan at war, is that a world war? Is that considered a world war? I don't know how many countries have to be involved, but that might need a good definition. And I'm sure the more that goes on, and the more countries that start getting involved, and the more conflicts that pop off, and that's not to mention all the things that have happened here in the very recent past, of all the different African conflicts, the different coups that took on, the different conflicts that are still going on. And maybe I'll put it in one of these videos that are a shorter video, and just go down through and list all the active military conflicts / wars that are going on around in the world, because most people would only say there's 1, maybe 2 actual wars or quote unquote conflicts. That list, the last time I checked it, was I think 20 plus. So tensions are definitely getting higher. Things are not de-escalating, they're in fact escalating. There's a lot of talk, there's a lot of rumor. Make sure, and I cannot stress this enough, watch the information that you get. Just the same with me. Do not take the information that I'm giving you that is absolute fact. Take what I give you and go research it for yourself. And I'll make this promise to you. If I come on and I say something and I find out a couple hours or a day or 2 later that it turned out that it's false, then I will come on here and I will apologize and I will correct myself, because as a content creator in my book, I have a moral obligation to try and present what I find factual. Now, I do throw opinion in there, and that's what kind of makes it my channel. And you can agree with it, you can disagree with it, it's fine. But with everything that's going on, watch who you follow. Watch the information that you just take right off. I follow a ton of people that I have a deep, great respect for, but I still take the things that they say and I go look into it for myself. I want to make sure. I want to research it. I want to know for me. I don't want to be told something. There's too many people that go through and they get triggered by different things, or they lead with emotion. And to give a real quick example, I did this to an actual coworker, where they brought up something and whatever they said wasn't important to this scenario, but I basically told them, I think most of us can agree that, like, Hitler, it was a bad guy. If Hitler comes up and says, hey, that tree right here behind me is green, you can't say, well, you're Hitler, you're evil, you're wrong. It's a lie. No, sorry, evil, bad people can tell the truth. They can say a fact. And if you had some evil person point and say that that's green, you have to go, look, you're an evil, bad person, but you said a fact, that tree is green. So you have to watch both sides of the story. You cannot just stick to CNN. You cannot stick to just Fox News. You have to go through, and that is why I follow a ton of different channels and go to multiple different news sources, because there's a decent amount of time 10-15% of the time, they will post the same picture or the same video or the same headline, but they're going to give you two completely different sides to what happened. And that's really good for me because now I can look at one side, I can look at the other side, I can see the similarities, the differences, and usually find what I can come across, at least in my opinion, as truth somewhere in the middle. So, excuse me. That's what I want all of you to do. Research everything for yourself. Make sure, and it's not a bad idea because I do it too. Get your headlines from wherever you get it. You watch Pinball Prepping, if you watch Magic Prepper, if you watch Southern Prepper One with his Boots on the Ground report, S2 Underground, Ford Observer, Bear Independent, whoever you're watching, continue to watch them. It's fine, but they're human, just like you and me, and they can get bad information. They can get bad intel. Anything can go on to where you cannot take what they say as gospel. You have to research it for yourself. So I will continue to try and push these out daily. And like I said yesterday, I will sprinkle in some other things. I dropped a new video just a couple of hours ago. So that way, this channel doesn't turn into just war coverage, because I know that there's part of the channel that doesn't want this to become a war coverage. There's plenty of other people out there covering it, but I figure this is part of prepping to know what's going on around the world, and this does affect us. Gas prices, goods and services, there's a bunch of different things that this will affect us. The longer this goes on, the worse it's going to get. Even if we never get directly involved, this will affect us. So continue to pray for the country. Hope that this stuff gets better. Keep your head on a swivel. Stay safe out there. This is not a time to panic. This isn't trying to spread fear. So do what you can. Prep up. Take it serious. Remain united, because we're all prepping in this together.